back to Overthink, the game show where I ask contestants a series of Overwatch hot takes to see where they stand. Feel free to play along in the comments to let me know what your opinions are on these hot takes. And if you'd like to actually be on an episode, go ahead and sign up in my Discord. I host these live on my Twitch channel most Sundays, so please go follow me on there to catch a show live. And lastly, please don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more content like this. I feel like ranked overall is pretty balanced right now. This can include matchmaking, wins, losses, like how much percent you gain and lose, etc. All right. Holy, we already are off to a very unanimous start, almost. We have one person in agree, and then we have literally everybody else in somewhat agree. So we don't even have a single person in the disagree side of the spectrum. So Cranky Guy, you're the only person that hard agrees. So let's hear your stance.
Currently, I just don't see a problem with rank currently. I think that I deserve my spot in what I am currently in Masters because, you know, I'm pretty inconsistent. I agree that my teammates are not the problem. They deserve to be in the same rank as me, and I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
I feel like I don't find myself having as many losing streaks as often. Maybe even the same for winning streaks. I think my gameplay experience has been a little bit more balanced, but when it comes to like my winning to losing ratio, I'm also in gold, so I mean like that can also speak for itself. But yeah, I think like, I don't know, I think it's been more of a balanced experience, even though maybe the losing can be a little, how do you say, like not balanced. I think what I'm trying to say is that even though my losing games can pretty much be off the bender, I think I find myself at least having more wins than just losing on a streak.
I personally tend to agree that ranked is currently in a good state. My only caveat is that for a lot of people, you notice that they have to win 5-6 games and they lose the same amount in a single game. I think MMR tends to influence your rank too much compared to what it actually shows. And I think if that got either smoothed out a bit or slightly altered, I think rank would be perfect.
My main issue, it's been great so far, like the percent stuff, but when I queue, I get like the widest matches I've ever gotten in Overwatch. I have had a Masters to Plat games, Silver to Plat, and I'm not even queuing with a friend or anything. I'm solo queuing. I just, like, my matches have been really wide for some reason. Like, it could just be that they're on a winning streak, but I don't know. I just found the matches aren't quite high quality. Like, there's a lot of unwinnable matches, almost unwinnable.
Wide grouping is good for the game.
I agree, just because coming from the higher end of like being in ranked, I was never able to play with friends unless I got on an alt account, and I feel like being able to play on my main, which has all my skins and all my progress, is a lot more fun for me and a lot more fun for everyone else because I'm not playing on an alt account stomping what would be lower ranked people because I'm playing on an account that's lower. Now we're going to be in with other people who are doing the same thing as me.
I've got similar reasons. Obviously, you know, I'm diamond, but most of my friends are like silver and below, so it's nice to play with them in a competitive setting. And there are obviously some downsides. It's a new system altogether, so some people may want, you know, your rank to go up or down a little bit more or a little less depending on, you know, the games and how wide they are. But for how new the system is and what it's supposed to do, I think it's almost perfect.
I think it's good, but I don't think it's good in like the whole like sense that you have to wait a really long time for wide matches, because I was playing one match recently with a friend who was like platinum, and then we were waiting for a match for 20 minutes, which was a bit strange. And I was in my placement matches at the time. I ended up getting silver too. And that's my take. Thank you.
I have a stance of slightly disagree. I think in its current state, the wide match system is more harmful to the game. I think the idea is cool, and if they improve it further, it'd be nice. My main issues are in higher ranks, especially GM and above. If you queue with anyone, doesn't matter how close they are to you, you are considered a wide match. As also groups that would in the past easily be able to play with each other are now considered a wide match, and just the increase in length in queue is making me actively want to avoid playing with my friends at times because I want games and I don't want to sit there for 15 minutes because I'm a diamond 2 playing with a diamond 4 in a wide group.
I feel like my current rank is an accurate portrayal of my skill.
I feel like I deserve my rank, honestly. I mean, I feel like I'm a Plat player, like born and bred. Plat or whatever you want to call it. Like recently, I kind of stopped like 100% trying all out, like because I'm just tired of like the counter picking right now. It's kind of making me go insane. I just want to play some Winston or like whatever. It's like it's getting annoying, so I'm kind of just running it down. So yeah, it deserves to be lower, honestly. But yeah,
My highest rank so far has been Plat 3, and I'm not someone who really focuses on the rank of, like, I don't notice the difference, so I do. I'm not major in looking between the differences of people, and I feel like I do deserve to be in Plat, mainly because this is the highest I've been, and so I feel like I deserve to be in this high rank when all my other ranks have been gold and silver. I haven't been higher than Plat 3, which surprisingly in open queue, but yeah, I feel like I deserve my rank. So it's a little iffy for me because I don't know the differences if I do deserve to be higher.
Yeah, no, it's a weird one because like I know like overall my skills like pretty average for the most part. Although I'm in diamond, I feel like my skill is average. I should be realistically in like plat. You know, I was plat in Overwatch 1, and then because of like the early seasons of Overwatch 2, I played a lot Mercy then and a bit of Kiriko. They're really strong characters. Whoosh, went all the way to like Masters 2, right? And because I was in Masters 2 for quite a while, like at least 3-ish, 4-ish seasons, and then the new rank system, half reset-ish, came to the system. Everyone's been pushed back like an entire rank, but now I'm not going down. So I know that technically I have been somewhat boosted by other players, but at the same time, I am still, you know, coping with what other players are doing in my games currently. So I somewhat agree and somewhat disagree that I belong and don't belong at the rank I am.
I feel like it definitely leans more toward not being super accurate, at least for me personally, because right now I'm sitting at Masters 5, but I also play on a team, so I play like I scrim and stuff, and most of my teammates are like low GM, and I can come in and fill and beat GM players fairly easily. That's just like the disconnect between team play and ranked play. But I definitely know that I can play better than Masters 5, and I have, even on like alt accounts and whatnot that are like Masters 3 or something.
I feel like what you notice is more so a difference in skill set required, whereas in ranked you have to be able to really be able to abuse weaknesses from enemies, and like just if someone in the enemy team is you're just gonna focus them down, all that stuff. In ranked, that's a whole lot more of a thing than it is in team play. And team play, people tend to pick up for it much more, so it's much less noticeable. So it's way easier to play up to a certain level in team play than it would be in rank. And that's why also people who are very good at rank sometimes are just worthless in team play because they have a very specific playstyle that works for rank but wouldn't for team play.
I was doing a little bit thinking earlier. I actually don't think I deserve my rank. I am constantly put in Masters 1, 2, GM3 lobbies, and I'm constantly winning them. But when I get in Masters 1 to Master 3, I'd say there's just so many winnable games that I keep losing. Like my stats are different than the other tank, but it doesn't really matter. That's just my opinion, but can't tell me. I don't know.
I don't deserve my rank. I deserve a higher rank. Ugh, I'm silver too. That's so ridiculous. I was, platinum in Overwatch 1, platinum in Overwatch 2, like earlier seasons, and I just can't believe that, we were in a wide match and then I lost 5 games in a row, and that puts me down to silver. Excuse me? Hello? How is that possible? Do you know what I mean?
I have a very strong opinion on some people who think them losing their rank completely is to blame to the system. I did mention earlier that I do think you lose more than you win, and that is tied to your MMR. I think people who are unable to get out of low diamond when they have been GM their entire life says more about that person than it does about the rank system.
I deserve to be top 500. I have not played Season 2 or Season 3, and I have not played Overwatch 1, but I deserve to be top 500, even as a plat player, even though I've been it for only a month. Top 500! I don't actually want to be top 500!
Back to what Crank was saying earlier, this is mostly a thing with Tank, is that Tank is the boosted role right now. Tank SR is significantly higher than any other role, and that is simply just because of the lack of Tank players. Me personally, I am awful at Tank, and I am sitting around Masters 1 at Tank. I almost got GM5 at Tank simply because no one plays, and that leads to a lot of boosted people and a lot of bad games happening because people are much higher ranked than they should be, but because they're playing other tanks that are in that elo or other tanks that are also boosted, it kind of gives a false sense of, hey, I am this elo, when you're just playing the same plat players that you would be playing normally.
I do not understand this take at all. There's a reason tanks as a whole are getting incredible buffs. coming next week. Tank is not boosted at all. You have to do so much stuff on tank. The role that is actually boosted is support. Just be able to do a bit of damage, be able to heal a bit, and you'll climb. That doesn't take much. A tank has to stay alive, has to keep aware of their teammates, has to keep aware of their enemy. There's so much more to do around tank, while everyone still follows you. Everyone still targets you. Tank is the target of the game. You do not just play the game and have fun. You do not just play the game and roll over the enemy. You get targeted. You get all the shit on you. You're not gonna be fine. Tank is not boosted. You need to do so much shit on tank.
I agree with both sides, to be honest. Tank is boosted because obviously, less tank players. I also understand Rihanna's point as well. Tank does get targeted a lot and there's not much they can do, so they do need to put more effort in at the same time. So I can see both points. So, and I completely agree with support being very much the boosted role of Overwatch 2.
My peak on support ever had been low mid masters. When I got into Overwatch 2 and the game became a lot more DPS focused and support just does damage and wins games, I was able to climb from low masters to GM3 in a single day on support. That's part of why I believe support is so incredibly boosted.
I completely disagree with the tanks being boosted. I've been GM1 ever since the boosted season, when everyone's SR was pretty boosted, but I said at the top. And then when the season reset came, I got placed with the, everyone else. And my SR is still where a GM2, GM3 is currently. And then also when I played support, I was a GM3 player before the reset, but when I played support and I grinded it out, actually tried, I got in owl lobbies. It is so easy to climb on support. I got Hydrogen Hawk, Lethal, and someone else. It's just so easy to win games because you can pick easy characters like Moira, Bath, Kiriko is so broken, always has been. People just need to learn to pick Kiriko and just win games.
I just think tank is just the nature of the game is inherently boosted if you think of it like that. You allow your DPS and your support to play in different situations that they normally wouldn't. Like you throw a Winston bubble up and they play within the bubble that they normally couldn't control that space. So I think if you want to think about it like that, it is inherently boosted. You could do big plays as tank. You won't be doing it very much. Realistically, big plays are up to DPS. I mean, you can play Widow and instantly headshot someone. You could go Storage Horn, whatever. Tanks don't have that kind of thing. You can have Roadhog, she can explode.
Rank resets, like what they did last season, are good for the game.
I feel like rank resets are necessary mainly because it's a factor of you might have just been able to get really good games because who knows the amount of new players have joined, and maybe it was just a time you were able to play with more people, or there were just randoms that were insanely good. That can influence your rank sometimes from what I've played, and obviously I haven't played a lot. I've never played Overwatch 1. I was never a consistent player when Overwatch 2 first started. I'm only Plat 3 as my highest rank, but I feel like they're necessary because of rank reset. I was able to reach Plat 3 in open queue, and I can't fathom of me being here right now.
I agree with what Corvus just said, but also I'm somewhat disagree because I feel like it's good, but then you get wide matches, and then you could be versus people who are way higher or way lower than you, and it just doesn't feel like you could get a proper match when you're doing placements with wide matches. So with the reset, it's good, but I feel like that part of it, with wide matches, it's just not. It doesn't feel fair sometimes.
I feel like it's a very recent feature, and that's why I'm kind of unsure, and I chose to use my neutral. I think it's just something that I don't think I have a opinion on just yet because it's new. I was leaning more towards slightly agree though, because it has been better, I guess, in my experience climbing, but don't really know if I can attribute that to the reset.
From what I've noticed, there's just so many boosters in Masters, with the wide matches, you can get just top 500 players, Roadhog players like myself, just blow up lower ranks just because they don't really know how to go against a Roadhog, just people who specialize on one tank and, just boosters in general. You're gonna see Pocket Mercy just dominating because they have a really good Pharah booster, and I'm tired of seeing these boosters get money.
I prefer 6v6. 3. All right, Winston, calm down. Go back to the middle. I prefer 6v6.
There's just so much wrong with 5v5 right now. Like, we're having to do 18,000 reworks every season. We're like changing things and just how do we make up for the tank that's gone? Okay, we gotta give them damage reduction on the armor and then like all this other stuff. It's not fixing the problem. I mean, bar rework did nothing. Hog rework did nothing. It's it's just like the whole thing about double shield. People will be like, oh, double shield. It doesn't matter. You guys weren't playing double shield right anyway. If you were, I mean, you could just balance the game instead of just leaving it for 2 years untouched. I mean, of course, the issues get, like, the game's gonna have a meta issue if you just leave it stagnant in an unhealthy place. It's just a given.
I'm just gonna list a couple different things. 6v6 doesn't have gigabuff tanks. Like, you're gonna kill the tank if you're gonna force their cooldowns correctly, instead of, you know, relying on the other tank to just do dumb stuff. Let's see, there's gonna be less pressure on the tank, because if, like, you can't just, what do you call it, counter swapping. Counter swapping is also just a huge issue. And let's see, OTPing is more reliable in 6v6. Like, I want to OTP a certain character on a alt account, but I can't because the other tank and just the other team's just gonna counter swap. With 6v6, it's gonna reward me a little bit more because there's gonna be less pressure on me. It's just been fundamentally broken also. Like, we're still trying to work out kinks after 2 years, which in Overwatch barely had any like huge changes to the game. Like the DPS role passives, that has been changed 3 times when in 6v6 it wasn't a thing. Trying to recall, and I don't think there's anything. Each hero had their own role passive, which is still a thing now, but still it is super dumb. Plus the percentage of people inting is less. Like, there's a 20% chance that someone, no, not chance. If someone is throwing, the impact is going to be less with 6v6 rather than 5v5 because 20% is greater than whatever it is for 6% of 100.
Not gonna lie, I think the more I'm standing here, the more I think I'm actually regretting choosing slightly agree. I think I actually would want to choose slightly disagree. I think that's because I think what made Overwatch 1 a problem with tanks was that they were pretty much just like bulky DPS, and I think getting rid of one and only having 5v5 made their role as tank more significant in a way and more relying on what makes them a tank instead of just doing damage. So I think in a way it has been beneficial, but also of course, like someone mentioned, that a lot of changes have been made to tanks because this is something that the game didn't have before.
I never played Overwatch 1, so I don't have a stance on if 6v6 was better than 5v5. Like, I really just don't have an opinion on it because I never played it. I don't mind 5v5, and just the idea of 6v6 makes me shudder and get a cold sweat when I wake up because I'm like horrified of having to be a like Mercy and then having a Reinhardt chasing me while there's an Orisa pounding the rest of my team. Like, that scares me a little. But yeah, I don't have much of a stance on it.
Yeah, I can completely see where the 6v6s are coming from. Obviously, I also played Overwatch 1, so I completely understand the tank aspect because I was originally a Rhine main back in the day. But one thing they're forgetting is that was an older development team. A lot of them aren't in with the company anymore. So if anything, I prefer to keep it 5v5 because this is a new balanced team, new developing team for the most part, and they're still grasping on what they're trying to do while keeping the game productive and different and fresh every season. I do understand as well the stagnation. Like, if they did still balance the game enough, it could have still been fun. And, you know, if worst comes to worst, we can always just come to more of a neutral stance and they have like a 6v6 like game mode in the arcade or something. That could be good. But overall, for the general game, it's not good for the game. It's 5v5 is the better option.
Starting off with my tank perspective, I was a flex DPS and a off-tank player. Everyone loves Reinhardt Zarya. Those games, they didn't happen. You can be all happy about, oh, but I can play Ryan Zarya in 6v6. I can't do that in 5v5. Cool, I'd lock in Zarya, my other tank goes Roadhog. It's like, okay, now I'm not playing it anyways. Like, what's the point? Oh, I feel like playing D.Va. Oh, never mind. My other guy's just playing Reinhardt, like in their backline, inting 24/7. Guess I'm not actually getting to play my hero correctly. Oh, I feel like playing Ball. Oh, my other tank has decided to set up in the backline with Orisa. Now what? Oh, guess I just don't really have the input. Like, for a tank player, you were not playing with another tank. You had another tank, but you weren't playing with another tank. The fact that that would happen was very rare. Then from a DPS perspective, in 5v5 you actually get to play the game. And you always had two people in two tanks in your face in 6v6, especially a D.Va. You were playing any form of hit scan, any form of anything that can output a lot of damage. That's a D.Va in your face 24/7. And that isn't a throwing. It isn't throwing because there's another tank to actually control the rest of the game. If you have two tanks, it's just too oppressive no matter how you balance it. There's always going to be one tank that will just always be in your face, ruining your game. You're not getting to play the game as a DPS. Furthermore, talking about the balancing aspect, I actually think people give Overwatch 2 balancing a hard time, and whilst I agree with proper balancing, Overwatch 1 would have been a lot better. I think tanks had too much impact, and tank and support always dictated every single meta ever in Overwatch 1. I think there's been maybe one meta ever where it was DPS centric, and that's just not nearly as much happening. It's in Overwatch 2 you always see the tank fits whatever the supports fit, or if there's a broken DPS like Sojourn, then whatever the Sojourn fits. And even then you can shift off of it. You can play yourself. For instance, Junker Queen now. I can just pick a Junker Queen and I can do my thing. It doesn't matter what the people around me are doing. As long as I'm not freezing my brains out, I can play Junker Queen in every game.
I think I would rather have my other tank inting than have my games held hostage with Widowmaker. Even without the synergy, like a tank inting their brains out, you can still have so many more playstyles. Like with a Ryan inting the backline, you can just go ball and try dive stuff with him, try protect him. There was a time in October 2020 where like literally everything was playable. You could do anything. Ball, double shield, City Hog, Orisa Hog, Ryan Zarya, you know, there was anything. They balanced the game before Overwatch 2 to a point where it was, you know, the best there was. You know, I still miss Goats. Like, they messed up a lot of things in 6v6. But the roll-lock with 2-2-2, I think that it was a great time to have. The reason why it started dying in the end, it was just because the devs just gave up on the game. They went to Overwatch 2 just to grab some more money, which I think they could have just grabbed more money by switching the Overwatch 2 system, Battle Pass, and the shop over to Overwatch 1. It's just sad what happened with Overwatch 1.
I think the whole idea of having more playstyles is incorrect. If my other tank is feeding, I have to adjust my playstyle to what they are doing, or I'm automatically losing the game, and that to me was not fun.
Going back to that, so what if you have a teammate inting on your team in Overwatch 2? If the game's practically over unless you have a Widowmaker hitting every headshot.
I can go a tank that has kill capabilities. Junker Queen, Doomfist. I will win those games. I have plenty. Like, just you go something that has more carry potential. It's much more risky. If it doesn't work, you are gonna lose even harder, but you are able to deal with that.
I just completely don't agree. You can make so many different playstyle differences in Overwatch 1 because you have another hero out there doing their own thing. So why don't you do your own thing? Like, Sigma is so good in Overwatch 1. Sigma, Hog. Hog has one-shot capabilities in Overwatch 1. He still does it in Overwatch 2, but he doesn't die. I don't know. It's just so frustrating with how much games can be held hostage in Overwatch 2 compared to Overwatch 1.
So are we just gonna agree to disagree then on the debate?
Oh, I've had this debate 100 times. If I could, I would have moved even further, right?
I still think I want to switch positions.
Yeah, you where to somewhat disagree? Go on ahead. Is there anybody else that would like to swap after hearing other people speak on it? Oh, okay.
I feel like what I said before when it comes to how the experience, because really we have to base it off of Overwatch 1, because that's really what it is. It's Overwatch 1 with 2 tanks versus what we have now. I really do think that the change to combat the tank as a role itself was resolved in terms of making the tank do its job in a better fashion, if you will. I think tank as a role has become what it's supposed to be, if that makes sense. I think it gives more significance to the role. I think having 2, especially with double shield, which gives me nightmares, glad we don't really have to deal with that as anymore. That's really kind of what made me, I was really unsure about this question. I would have chose neutral if I didn't use it already, but I think I'm more disagreeing on this side.
All right, well, that is the last hot take that I had for you guys. All in all, pretty tame episode. I don't think any of you guys are getting canceled, so even though I'm sad about that, I'm sure you guys can all be rest assured and go to sleep nice and peaceful tonight, except for Corvus, who's gonna be having nightmares about getting chased by double tanks. But yeah, one last thing before I let you guys go. The viewers always love to see everybody pop their ults, so I'll give you guys a countdown, and you could go at it. 3, 2, 1, go. Ult the camera if you can. Moira, do right in the camera.
2 to the 1, to the 1, to the 3. I play easy mode, and I play to win. I love to die, and I like to BRB. All systems checked out. Group up with me. 2 to the 1, to the 1, to the 3. I'm here to party. GG. A giant gorilla can keep up with me. You can't be serious. I'm the queen bee. Get out of the way. I'm the MVP. Move